All right, these could be perplexing questions, but let's see if we can figure it out. So I'm going to do f prime. Its derivative is going to be, let's see, derivative of 8 is 0, and then derivative of minus 9x is minus 9. That's not so bad. C is some constant. I don't know what it is, though. I'm going to say plus 2cx, and then it's going to be minus 3x squared. Okay? Now, what do they want? They want, find the largest value of c. We'll figure that out later. So they want this thing to be decreasing. So really what they want this thing, if it's decreasing, they want it to be always less than 0. Always negative. Always negative. So what I'm going to do over here is I realize it's quadratic in form. I'm going to use the quadratic formula. And I'll write this one down for you. So I'll write down 0. Let's see, minus 3x squared plus 2cx minus 9. Multiply both sides by minus 1. 3x squared minus 2cx plus 9. I can put the quadratic formula down. And let's write this down. So you get twice the a. That's going to be 6. And then you're going to get the, let's see, the opposite of the b. That's going to be 2c. All right, I'll write that down. Minus I'm sorry, plus or minus, what am I saying? The b squared, that's 4c squared, minus 4 times the a, that's the 3, and then the c. All right, I got to figure this out. And looking at it, what do I get here? I get 2c plus or minus. I got to be real careful there, don't I? So 4c squared. And that's going to be what? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to factor a 4 out. Let me do that first. If you factor a 4 out, what do you get? You get 2, because square root of 4 is 2. Then what do you get here? You get c squared minus, I factor 4 out, 27 over 6. All right, let's keep going. And what do you get there? Let's put this down. X equals, I'm going to divide by 2 now, c plus or minus the square root c squared minus 27 over 6. Well, you know, looking at it, let's see if I did this right. Looking at it, I want this thing to always to be negative, right? This is the part where I'm looking at this thing and I got to think again. Let me think if I'm thinking right over here. I'm looking for what value of x. And I certainly don't want this to have a real solution to it, all right? So what I need to do is I need c squared minus 27. In other words, I don't want a root. And I want that to be less than 0. Oops. Let me just think for a second. C squared minus 27. If that thing is below 0, this is going to be a complex root, which indicates the thing's either going to be positive above the x-axis or below the x-axis, all right? So what I'm going to do now is, this doesn't look too bad to do, by the way. So I know the two roots of that. It's going to be 3 root 3, plus or minus 3 root 3. And let's just be careful. I want that to be negative. So if you chose 0, it would, that's where it's negative, right? So I know my c now is between minus 3 root 3 and 3 root 3. Again, I still have to think. Right? So what do you mean you're thinking over here? I got to make sure that that derivative is always going to be negative. And how do I know that? I'm looking at it. And what do I know about this over here? I know it's a parabola that opens downward. I know it doesn't have any roots. And how do I know it has no roots in this interval over here? How do I know that? They're complex. It's opening downward. It couldn't have any roots. So this is the answer to it. The c must be on the interval. Now let's go back to the question now. But the c must be on that interval. So the c must be on that interval. Now what do they say over here? Find the largest value of c so that this function is decreasing. And I think I know what it is now. What's it going to be? The largest value it could be is got to be this over here, all right? So 3 root 3. Now what would happen at 3 root 3? If the c is equal to 3 root 3, what are you going to get? You're actually going to get a parabola that has one point of intersection over here, but it's always going to be, let me just make sure I did it right. It's always going to be like below the x-axis, except at that one given point. So the most it could be is 3 root 3. I consider this to be a tough question. You may want to graph it out with the understanding of plugging the number in there and seeing what it looks like if you like. All right? Thank you.